There's one thing you need to know about flip phones. They will eventually break. It might take 3.5 years, or almost 11 years, of using the phone quite intensively. But eventually, they'll break. And where did I get the 3.5 and 11 years from? A bunch of volunteers, my team and I have been folding the Samsung Z Flip 5 for a week, 24/7, and the Motorola Razr 40 Plus/Ultra for 1/3 of that time because it broke faster. And why did we do that? To find out how many folds it takes for a flip phone to break. Motorola claims that this phone would survive 400,000 folds. That's 11 years of opening and closing this phone 100 times a day. And a regular user would typically open their phones 50 times a day. We even encountered first problems with the Motorola's Hinge after roughly 43,000 folds. It was stuck, not allowing the phone to close all the way down. The person folding the phone tried to gently overcome the resistance, but after they finally managed to close the phone, the hinge stopped working properly. We thought the phone was still usable and continued the experiment, but if it was my phone… Wait, this is my phone! I bought it specifically for this test, just as I bought this Samsung phone. And I'm not saying it to brag about the fact that I can afford 2 flip phones that are now broken. I'm telling you this to let you know that this test wasn't sponsored nor influenced by Samsung or Motorola. However, we have a sponsor. It's a platform called Odoo, which we built our website on. Odoo gives you a free domain name for a year, and maintaining a basic website on their servers is also free. So if you need a neat temporary website for your project, it saves you money. I'm not gonna tell you that Odoo is better than other platforms because it doesn't make sense to me to review a product from a company that gave me money. I just want to thank Odoo for supporting this project and get back to the video. Motorola had the hinge issue at 43,000 folds. Meaning if you were folding this phone 100 times a day, it would take you a bit over a year to get to this point. Which isn't great news, but you would probably have the phone repaired or replaced by Motorola. At 43,000 folds, Samsung feels and looks quite the same as it did at the start of our experiment. So we kept on folding both phones until they reached 100,000 folds. That translates to 2.5 years of opening and closing each phone 100 times a day. At this point, we decided to put them to the dirty pockets test. We put some dust in 2 plastic bags, the same size of bags, the same type and amount of dust, and the same way of exposing both phones to the dust in our transparent pockets. The result was… But it got better with time, at least when it comes to the Z Flip. The Razr was harmed permanently. See this little dot? It's probably a dust particle that somehow got under the Razr's screen. It never disappeared and got way bigger with time. And this is a bummer, especially since the Razr is rated IP52. That's dust protected, not dust tight, but dust protected. And if this happened to you while using this phone on a regular basis, the warranty has probably expired already at this point, and even if it hasn't, the producer might claim that this was caused by the user's mishandling of the phone. Which is true. You shouldn't put this phone into a bag full of dust if you want it to last longer. The Z Flip 5, on the other hand, is not dust protected, officially, but it handles dust quite well. Our next challenge was folding these phones in the cold. We've modified 2 freezers to be able to fold the phones inside them, but it looked terrible. It worked terrible. We couldn't keep the temperature constant. It was rising way faster in the freezer we were folding the Z Flip in. That might suggest that the Z Flip gets warmer than the Razr while exposed to lower temperatures, and that might be true. But since we didn't do a great job with this part of our test, I would just ignore the outcomes. Long story short, both phones survived. But not long after that, this line appeared on Motorola's screen, and that was it. At this point, the Razr became unusable for us, and we pronounced it dead at 126,000 folds. And that's not even 1/3 of the promised 400,000 folds. When it comes to the Z Flip 5, Samsung is way more conservative than Motorola, saying you can open and close this phone 200,000 times, and after that, you're on your own. And the Z Flip 5 has reached 200,000 folds without any problems, so we decided to fold it underwater for 30 minutes. And even though this phone is rated IPX8, that means it can stay underwater for 30 minutes. No one says you should be folding it while it's submerged. And I think that folding a phone underwater, a phone that's been previously exposed to a lot of dust, might cause some issues to the hinge. And this was the case here. We've encountered a major hinge issue on the Z Flip 5 after 223,000 folds. This phone should stay flat open while unfolded. It will fold when you push it lightly, but it shouldn't fold by itself. Since we decided it's still usable comparing to the Motorola, we kept on folding. And also we put it in ice and sand. We exposed it to high temperature for half an hour of folding. We finally used it as a cake ingredient, although we never put the cake into the oven. But flour, sugar, eggs, milk, it was all there, over the phone and trying to penetrate it. Then we rinsed it all with water. And just 1,000 folds later, this happened. A line appeared on the screen. Of course it was us. We killed this phone, but it was over 400k folds. It was double the number Samsung claims this phone should withstand. So it only made sense to us to see how much it will survive, and it survived a lot. I don't want to say that this phone is indestructible because we didn't cover every real-life use case scenario, but this phone is tough. 2 of our counters broke throughout the live stream, and this phone was still alive. We were afraid that our cameras might die, because normally we use Canon cameras that are known for their overheating issues. Luckily, Sony has lent us their cameras that didn't mind being turned on for a week 24/7. Sony, thanks for helping us out. We used these Blackmagic Ultra Studio recorders to connect the cameras to this M1 Pro MacBook Pro. Oh, and everything was plugged to this. In case of any power outages, luckily there wasn't any. Is this too much information that you didn't ask for? So what's next? I want to disassemble both phones, but I'm not Zach from Jerry Rig Everything, so I might end up uploading a video that's not helpful at all, or uploading no video to avoid the embarrassment. I want to thank each and every person that has helped us with this crazy experiment. To all you volunteers showing up in the middle of the night just to fold a phone for an hour, I'm extremely grateful. I also wanted to thank all the journalists that decided to cover this story. I mean, these outlets writing about our live stream, it was crazy and we are overwhelmed with gratitude. It also gave us the confidence to try and prepare more extreme tests, because it seems that this is interesting not only for ourselves. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.